Yeah. All right, everybody. Welcome. Thomas Dimitrovich here. And waiting on the other side, I've got Nehad. We were just working out some details. I'm going to just bring up some my restream up here so I can see any comments on this side of the business. And then I'm going to bring Nehad in right now. Nehad, welcome, buddy.
Hey Tom, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, perfect. So I guess you did your magic, fixed all the technical problems, which is great.
It wasn't easy. It was not easy, and for some reason, oops, I don't know what I'm typing. D. Dimitrovich. I just got to sign in. I want to get Restream working over here so that I can see the comments. Confirm, and I'm going to say yes, it is me. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of that. Get back over to Safari. Continue. It's doing my Face ID now. This is good stuff. All right. Continue. All right, there I am. And we'll bring up the chat. Okay. All right, so at least I have, at least I'm live and I've got a good connection. We have been going on for 1 minute and 50 seconds, so we are golden. So Nehad is over in, hey Robert, I'm coming. We're here, man, we're here.
Yeah, I told him we were fixing some issues. You were fixing some issues. I'm just sitting here. I'm not doing anything.
Gotta love it. And now what I have to do, Nehad, is I've got to get, you sent me the latest edition of our book, our document, right?
I did. Do you want me to resend it? Or
Nope, I got it right here. That was on Sunday, July 28th. Make sense? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. It was last, I think I sent it on Sunday, last weekend, whatever the Sunday was. I was working on the weekend. I think it was Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, it was Sunday. So at least that's
Sunday, 28th.
I have. And Nehad, you are in Egypt, so we are truly.
I'm in Cairo.
Yep, we are truly networked. So you can see me over here, right?
I can see you, but I can't see what you're sharing yet. All I can see is I guess the desktop or something, just like some nice field.
There it is.
And now I can see the paper. Okay,
there we go. All right, so everybody, okay, so now
we are talking.
We are now back in, we're in business. So we're talking competing design goals versus codes and standards, managing electrical safety risks, and all that jazz. All right, I'm on my phone and computer. Excellent, Robert. He's the man.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
Steve.
Robert, it's like
Steve?
70p. This is not 70p, Robert. This is like a real paper. I think NP is 70p.
So, Steve, do you have echo? Steve says he has echoing going on. Robert, do you hear echoing? I don't, I don't have. Steve says he hears echoing. Robert, do you hear echoing? Robert does not have any echoing. Steve, I think you might have a couple instances open. That's the only thing I can think of. Robert does not have any echoing going on. So, and I don't see any on my mic indication or anything like that. So, all right. Alrighty, so here we go. Steve Roaming says the echo has now stopped. Excellent, thank you, Steve. Okay, so Nehad, where did we? Do you remember where we left off?
I do. So, and I did some changes. So I guess maybe we can take a few minutes because I don't think you had a chance to go through what I did. So maybe I'll walk you through what I did quickly, just like follow up on our previous session, and then we can pick up from where we stopped.
That sounds good.
Okay, so we did the electrical hazard. So the introduction we haven't touched. The electrical hazard is where we started. We spent some time there. Yeah, and everything is in yellow highlight. This is my bad. I just haven't had a chance to. I ran out of time actually. Wanted to add references, but I haven't yet. So it just says where the information is coming from, but I need to create a list, like a citation, proper citation reference section. Okay, and the same thing with the X's. I highlighted studies here because you and I were supposed to do more research to figure out what studies we're talking about. I haven't had a chance to do it, I admit it. So something we need to work on, I guess.
Yep.
Right. Maybe you can keep going. Oh yeah, table 1. So I added table 1. This is something that you provided, Tom, from our discussion. I guess it was one of your presentations. So I created this table based on the information that you shared with, I guess, all of us during our last session. It was 2 weeks ago or something, maybe 3. I can't remember. I was in Canada, and then I went to France. Now I'm in Egypt. So I need a reference for that table. And I just didn't understand. I wasn't sure what you meant by beginning of OSHA regulations. Something maybe we need to clarify a little bit.
Yeah, that is that's where OSHA starts. That's like if you go above that number, you're into where OSHA says you need proper ear protection and things of that nature.
Okay. So I don't know. Do you think it's clear enough? Maybe if Robert and Steve, do you guys think maybe it was just my bad. I wasn't quite sure what Tom meant. Now it makes sense. Any suggestions on how to reword it, maybe? Or is it clear enough? Maybe we don't need to do anything? I don't know.
What, where it says beginning of OSHA regulations?
Yeah. So just we can get rid of what this.
Yeah.
Okay, this was my note.
I know.
I wasn't sure.
Just hold on. Dan was saying it's the action limit. This is where yeah, Robert. So Dan said action limit. I'm trying to remember where I got this table from.
Yeah, I don't know the source, but it was in your presentation. There's one presentation that you showed us during the live session last time. Obviously, I don't know the source, but this was, I guess, a program that you did previously.
Yeah, it's in so what I did was, I had I have a safety awareness educational program, and one of my slide decks is on hearing, damage. And so here is a chart. Let me do this. How do I? So this is a chart from NCOA Advisories decibel chart, and they have aircraft carrier, deck, motorcycle. So we had whispering. 30 decibels was faint sound whisper.
Yeah.
This is whisper from nearby more than 5 feet away. Quiet library average room noise is 40 decibels. I go to 85.
Yeah.
I don't have an 85 in this table. I'm not sure where I got that reference, but I'll have to.
Yeah, I know it's annoying, right? Because it happens to me all the time. I know I got this information from somewhere, then I can't find it anymore. I know I didn't. It's not that I made it up. I got it from somewhere, but I can't find it anymore.
Yeah,
it gets frustrating.
I could do this too. Let me see if I put it in the notes on that slide deck.
Yeah, this is normally what I would do when I have a reference. I'd put it in the notes. But I would say our backup plan, if you can find the source, maybe we can use this chart that you're just showing from the NC or whatever it was called.
I like, I think it was Robert said action is required. So what if I did that? What if I added that? OSHA.
Maybe say action is required by OSHA. OSHA requires some corrective measures or something.
Beginning of where OSHA regulations require. What did you call it? What did you say? Mitigation efforts.
Yeah, yeah, correction or mitigation efforts. Yeah.
I like it. I like the mitigation.
Yep. Mitigation is a better word for sure. And I forgot what I said. Just
I know,
said
you know,
something
and
just
that's terrible.
It's funny. I mean, that good thing is recorded, so I can always go back and figure out what I said. Because
Yeah,
I guess I'm getting too old. I can't remember what I said like 10 seconds ago.
I hear you.
Crazy.
Thought I was the only
Okay.
one with that challenge, Nehad. Get rid of the beginning of it is
welcome to the club,
implicit
my
by the
friend.
chart. Impact of
But I
sound
guess
levels. He said get rid
yeah,
of.
sorry.
He says get rid of the begging of. It is implicit by chart. Begging of. Impact of sound levels on hearing damage.
Beginning
Oh,
of. Yeah, I guess
oh,
it's
beginning
yeah,
of.
beginning.
Oh,
beginning
yeah,
of.
I get it. Okay. That's.
Makes sense.
I think that's what he's saying. There it is. Got it. So he's just saying OSHA regulations
OSHA regulation
require mitigation efforts. Okay. Yeah, I got it. That's good. I like that. Faint whisper. All right, I'm going to worry about the reference.
Say we need the reference. It's on the other side of the paper, of the opposite column.
Right here.
Yeah, reference needed.
I'll get that. Get that. OSHA regulations.
Yeah, it's very similar to the chart that you showed. That I think around 90 or 85, they were showing that this is anything below this line is safe. I guess if we go up and things gonna go become more, it's dangerous.
Yeah, I have to.
One thing I could do, Tom, I can leave this OSHA mitigation, and maybe above and below this line, we can use the chart that you just showed. I just need the link, and then at least we have a reference. But I'll keep this OSHA regulation because this is kind of our line.
Yeah.
The sand, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
And I can do above and below, and then it'll be like, and I can even add some wording in the text saying that above this level or below this level, it's safe. Anything above, I guess, 85 decibel requires attention or requires some corrective measures or mitigation efforts, whatever you call it.
That's right. So, so what we're doing, I'm just going to go back. So we have in the arc flash hazard discussion, we have the thermal energy discussion here, the blast pressure energy. Then we have the acoustic. This is what this is. And then we have the light energy, which is the impact on the eyes. And then
what's the thermal burn?
This doesn't belong here because we've already. Whoa.
No, this is number 3. It's not under.
Oh, that's okay.
Right? This is 3. I added this because remember the last time we spent quite a bit of time discussing this.
Yeah.
And you got me sold on adding a new, I guess, item. Talks about thermal burn hazard, which is the third hazard-ish.
Yeah.
That's number 3. Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I would like to. It just blends too much. Do you know what I mean? I can't tell.
Yeah.
I that's why I got confused with the arc flash hazard, and then we moved into this, and we went 2 to A, and that's fine. Somehow we've got to better delineate these two. I'm not sure how, but it just blended too much.
So this is the issue with the IEEE template. I mean, this is kind of how it works with the numbering, and maybe I can add, like you said, that you did there a space or something.
Dan makes a good point.
I'm not checking the chat.
Yeah. So Dan, you know what, Dan? So Dan is saying length of exposure is a factor as well. I know we have the length of exposure to sound. We have the 8 hours and the 4 hours. But how about the other like thermal energy. Well, in an arc flash event, it's instant, right? But thermal burn has a duration to it as well, right? Do we have a table for thermal? We don't.
So remember, it's in the other document, and this is what I sent. What I sent in my email. I couldn't find the source. It's like more problematic. So let me send you a link, because this is the table that you shared with me, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. That's why I didn't add this
Send it to
table.
my T. Dimitrovich email.
Should I drop it in the chat? Would it work? In the chat?
Yeah, you can.
I guess in our chat.
I don't know if I can. I'll try to get it.
Oh no, in Teams, not on the YouTube chat.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to see if I can get it. I don't know if I can.
Well, I can email it to you. You know what? I think it's already in the paper. Well, if you don't have it, I can email it to you. It's
How do I don't know how to. I don't know how to maximize the Teams meeting. So you'll have to email it to me.
okay, because I'm just. Yeah, my computer is pretty slow now. I guess I'm running too many things at the same time. But so you want it to your Gmail or which email?
Gmail.
Or the Eaton
Gmail.
one? Gmail. Okay. Computer is super slow.
I'm not sure how to. So thermal hazards can be both hot and cold. Ooh, yeah, Dan, you're right. Thermal hazards can be hot and cold, but we're talking burns from heat. So because we're talking thermal burns, not cold, but that is a good point.
No, not frostbite. I know frostbites living in Canada. I don't know if they're worse than heat, like thermal burns, or they're pretty bad. Almost got one many years ago. Not recommended. Never do that. This is the website.
Oh, here we go. I found the Teams.
Oh, you did? I was just about to email it to you. You still want me to email it?
You can try to drop it in the chat.
I did.
Oh, there it
You
is.
have it?
All right, hold on.
Cool. I don't need to send this email. That's fine.
No, that's good.
Oh.
Jeez. I couldn't find the window. I had too many windows open. So this is a burn exposure chart based upon, what is this, antiscald.com?
So here's the thing. This is the link that you gave me last time. The problem is looks like a manufacturer, and if you scroll down, they have references. Both references, you can like the PDF and this HTML website, both of them are not available. So that's why I kind of question the validity of this. I mean, probably the information is okay, but maybe we need to find a better source. And I couldn't find anything online because the only two references they provided, not there anymore. And I'm not a burn expert, so I couldn't find anything to verify, this table. So I didn't include it.
Oh, but
I can.
So you said I sent that to you?
Yeah, this was in our. If you check the other document I sent you, this was the outcome of our last session or whatever you had from last time. This table that you grabbed this table from your slides, from another program that you did. You only showed Fahrenheit per table, but I guess these guys are showing Celsius and Fahrenheit. Not a problem.
Let me do this. I'm gonna go into my 70E presentation, and this would be heat, right?
Yeah, this is the exposure time to receive a severe burn.
All right, so hazard, arc flash, shock, electrical hazards, injury, heat. All right, so here's my slide deck on heat. So Oh, okay. Antiscald.com. That's the link that we took that from, huh?
Right.
Yep. Okay, so what we should do is we need a better reference. We need a better reference to when a second degree and third degree. I mean, I can't see this being rocket science, right? So, all right. We will need a better reference. If that's a manufacturer, that's not good.
No, it's not. Yeah, that's why I didn't include the table.
See, there's the
Verified.
American Journal for Public Health, and then there's the Consumer Product Safety Commission.
Yeah, because I was thinking maybe referencing one of the two references that they have, whichever one that had the table, but both of them are just not there anymore. Like metal.org, and then there's the, I guess, americanburn.org. It exists.
All right. Okay, so, and I wonder if there's any, so there's a ASTM, scald prevention devices. I'll bet you ASTM F444-88 might have some information. And so you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to make a note. I'll do an action item. Thermal burn references needed. And I'm going to put these down because I have access to those standards. I can get ASTM, and I think I can't get sanitary, but I can at least get ASTM F444-88 and see what data they have.
Access. It's good because I have access to these standards. And I know one thing that I didn't include this in our text, but in the wording that you sent me, you had this sentence about the hot water. 120 Fahrenheit is the recommended hot water, I guess, temperature.
Oh, yeah, and that is
the American Journal of Public Health.
Consumer Product Safety Commission.
And I guess the line above, it says American Journal of Public Health.
So both of them, but I would go. I think I know our electrical industry references the CPSC, so Consumer Product Safety Commission, maximum temperature bath water. Let's just see what I find. Publication 509 US 5098. Avoid tap water scalds. There's your 120.
Okay.
Urges. Most adults will suffer third-degree burns if exposed to 150 degrees of water for 2 seconds. Here we go. Burns will also occur with 6-second exposure to 140-degree water within a 30-second exposure to 130-degree water, even if the temperature is 120. So maybe this CPSC reference might be good, but I'd love to see the source of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, at least we have something.
So this is National Library of Medicine. Although water heater manufacturers adopted a voluntary standard in the 80s to preset thermostats on new water heaters to 120, tap water scald burns cause an estimated 1,500 hospital admissions and 100 deaths per year in the United States. Hot water temperature was unsafe at 41% of homes. Homeowners were more likely to have safer hot water Boy, if I tell you what, if I was doing a research on hot water, this would be a great reference, wouldn't it?
There you go. There's not a new paper on hot water burns. I mean, it would be like all these people being losing their lives to hot water. This is quite interesting.
Burns from tap water results in an estimated 1,500 hospitals.
1,500 hospitals, 100 deaths per year. 100 people.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this, Control C. I'm going to put this in the chat.
And maybe put it in a paper, Tom. Probably makes more sense. So you put it in a paper, and then I can go back and add those references, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but
No, don't lose it. At
we
least
may
you and I
not.
would have
I'm
it. Yeah,
sorry.
let's say, yeah, because if you were in a chat, once we're done, the information will be lost. Yes, if we put this and CPSC one as well, I can include them in our references.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a note over here.
Yeah, just a call. Yeah, right. Just a comment or something.
New comment. Reference links. There's that
perfect.
one. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Oh, okay.
There's the other one was CPSC. And maybe I can read through if the information are more like this, that what you're showing on your slide here aligns with what they're saying. Maybe you can just include the table without having a reference. I mean, provided that we're having these two other references that would align with the information in the tables. I think it's avoiding tap water. Probably this is the one.
Yeah.
Your safety alert. It's a safety alert. Okay.
That was a safe, but I wish there was a limit research document. Commission acts on tap water scald hazards. CPSC warns preventing burns and scald. What's this one? The Commission has elected to invite outside opinion about appropriate temperatures. No, that's just a preventing burns, scalding. Okay, so at least we've got we're going in the right direction. We just might have to do a little bit of homework to get a good reference for those temperatures.
Right. And I guess in your notes you didn't find any references, right?
No.
For this.
Temperatures. Do you experience skin damage? There's frostbite, Dan.
I know. I know this very well. Any temperatures below what? 0.5 Celsius? Oh no. It gets colder. You need cooler temperature than this. I'm used to -40, man. Celsius, Fahrenheit, they're the same. So.
Dan's saying try the Center of Biotechnology for references on second-degree burns. You're about to be signed out. What's that about? No, this has been oh man, it wants to restart my computer.
Oh,
it's gonna do it in 4 minutes. I tell you what, I hate. I'm not gonna say anything about Windows. I'm just gonna say.
I will say it. I'm not a fan. I'm not a Microsoft products fan.
I don't understand this. I mean, your computer must restart to complete the installation. I don't want to do that.
You can probably delay it.
I can't. I try to hit the snooze button, but it will not let me do it. So if it restarts, Nehad, I'll just bring it back up again. I'll continue on here.
Yeah. You're not using your Apple laptop, or just like you're using both of them?
You're on my Microsoft.
Oh, Microsoft. Okay, yeah, because I know you always use Apple. Tom, before I forget, maybe put the link for the other document for table 1. Remember the one that was talking about the decibels levels? Maybe in the paper as well, so I can use this for our reference.
I don't have it up anymore. Don't have it up anymore. Internet references were forbidden for college papers. Had to be printed paper. Yeah. Jim Frey says P&L has topics related to mixing valves that allow the stored water to be set to 135 and mixed with cold for safe use in a home. I'm going to try this. Center for Biotechnology Biotechnology, thermal burns, temperatures. Thermal burns. Recall, no, hold on. I just saw. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. History and physiology. You know, so NHZ, my Kawasaki friend, made a statement that internet references were used to be forbidden in college.
Yep.
So here's the thing, Nehad. I think what we have to try to do is, if we have a reference, that's why I'm trying to find a research project or a report. That is a much better reference, because to his point, the website may no longer be available, right? I mean, if I put a link to somebody's thing, right? So,
but I guess in our case, we're looking for CPS and more credible sources. That's why I was hesitant to put this anti something, whatever it was called, because it's a manufacturer and the reference that they use don't exist anymore. But I guess if we reference the safety alert from CPSC, this is credible. And if we reference the National Medicine Library, whatever it was called, I think it's still another credible source. I don't expect CPSC to go away anytime soon.
Yeah.
National Library of Medicine, yeah. So I think these two I can live with.
Yeah, because this is an abstract for temperature sensitivity. That's after burn injury, though.
Yeah, it's probably abstract. We don't have access to the paper. We don't have to be a member or pay for the paper, which I don't think we need the paper.
I mean, if the information we need is like in something like this in the the synopsis, then I don't necessarily. But if we think that information is in there and I've got to buy it, I don't have a problem buying the paper. I just want to make sure that what we want is in there. But I don't think.
But I guess you're going through the paper now, right? So I think it looks like the paper is available, not a PDF version, but it's available. Like all the tables, I can see table 2 and.
But the data we need is not in it.
Yeah, no, yeah. So maybe maybe this is not the right place. And, if we can find the data, we can find the data. Like this table is just not a deal breaker for our paper. This was nice to have, but if we can find the information, then we don't have to include it.
Yeah. Well, we definitely know the 120 degrees. I feel comfortable with that. Multiple references. Okay. My computer is restarting, and oh, you're still on? Oh, okay. You know what it might be? You can't see me, right? Yeah. Yeah, my other computer, because I've got you over here, so my other computer is rebooting. So yeah, so let me make sure I got this right. There we go. All right, so it's just me and the thing, and once this other computer reboots, I'll get you back up and running, okay?
Oh.
All right, so let's go back. Those are my thermal burns. That was my same two references.
Yeah, so this was the link that you referenced, the anti-scald or whatever it's called. But it was not very credible. Yeah.
What's this one? Oh, that's the age. That's the other thing. So did we put in here about the age? No, I
didn't, because it was a note that you mentioned, but I didn't have any information. You said age also. I think if you scroll down to the very end, I added a sentence, but I wanted more information. Scroll down, please. Yeah, see here. It's finally worth noting that in this like factory, including age. This is all I had from last time. Yeah. That's why I was like, we need something here.
Yeah, and this came from somewhere. and I did not capture.
The reference. This is the problem.
I know this is a message to anybody who's doing this. Um, when
Keep
you
your
get
references,
data,
man.
always include the reference, even if you put it down here in the notes.
That's what I always do, Tom. I keep it in notes, like all the links, all the at least the note for myself. Hey, I got this from this place. I'm
Uh,
never. I don't remember anything.
yeah.
Forget things easily. That's
All
okay. I
right.
mean, the good thing is this is not crucial to the paper. So if we can find the source, it's okay. We can work around it. It's not something,
Yep.
not a deal breaker.
My computer has rebooted. Gosh, and it's okay. So temperature. So let's go back to this. We need the reference. I put those two. I got the thermal burns, the source of possible injury associated with an object. First degree burns, most common burns are generally minor because I think that discussion of the temperature impact makes sense here. It doesn't necessarily make sense. It doesn't necessarily make sense in the arc flash because it might. Man,
Hmm.
here's what I'm thinking, Nehad. Even if you wear personal protective equipment, say you're wearing PPE, right?
Yeah.
You may still get a burn, but a curable burn under the PPE. And it might be a good idea to have that discussion in the arc flash. But no. It would be appropriate when we start talking personal protective equipment.
So this will be the following section. So I guess just
Yes.
let's finish this first because this is the hazard, right? And then once we get to the hierarchy of risk control, which I guess it's maybe the following next page or 2 pages down,
Yeah.
there's room for that for sure.
All
So
right.
let's just finish this first, and I guess we can. But hold your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
We can use them. Yeah. Okay, I think this is good, and I will have to. I might have to just watch this video, go back and find this other reference for table one because I like the chart that they had. I can use some of the wording too. So this will be my reference. The one you're showing on the screen, table one, reference needed. I can use that one.
Yep. I'm going to.
Well, I can see your camera, but I can see that the other computer locked in. You're locked in on both of them now, so.
Yeah.
But your camera is not on, which is fine, I guess, as long as you are live on YouTube and your other platforms.
There we go. You're back.
Now you're back.
All right. Perfect.
You are back. I was here. I didn't go anywhere.
Okay, so we've got the acoustic, we got the light. All we have to do is clean up a good reference in when you hit a first degree, second degree, third degree, what the temperature values are.
And then we need, I guess, something about studies. Remember, to your left-hand side, studies has shown that arc blast pressure is function of whatever. We need to figure out what these studies are, or maybe do something about this.
Yeah. All right.
So this would be the hazard section. I think we have a good handle on that one.
Yep. Now we're into risk and risk assessment.
Risk acceptance. Yeah.
Yeah, Dan Harridge says about survivable burn. PPE gets you to a survivable burn. That's it. Okay. So now hazardous nature. It's crucial to fully understand the risk associated with electrical energy. Understanding risk is the first step. All right. Did you check both references, 70E? And I don't have Z462. Is the definition exactly the same?
Yes. I have Z462, and they're very they're. I mean, now they're starting to have some diversions, but back in the day, Z462, when I think it started in 2006. What CSA did is they went and took the 7E document and changed the cover page, and then start making some Canadian deviations. But it's been very, very similar
Okay.
to what 7E is. Yeah, no, they're exactly identical. I have the Z462 document.
Given a threat of capable of exploiting a given vulnerability. Oh, you highlighted NIST.
Yeah, this is the reference. I have to include this. I know, because just to remind myself where I got this from.
Okay.
So this is the NIST document. I have the link, so I will just need to include a reference and a number.
Okay.
In this bracket.
Consider as an example to climbing a ladder. Okay, so this is when you climb a ladder.
Yeah. This is all information that we presented in at ESW in Tucson from the slide deck. I got this information from there with all the decoration and the reference there, because I know the edit. You have a website there in the slide deck, so I'm going to add a reference to the website link with the holiday decoration stuff. So I have this reference. I just haven't had a chance to edit yet.
Okay.
And then the parachute, whatever, U.S. Parachute Association, USPA. I have the website as well in our slide, so I'm going to add this one.
Okay, perfect.
So I have a good hand on that one. I've run out of time. Hopefully next time it'll be proper referencing.
All right, so what we're doing here is we're basically talking about likelihood and severity with regard to those examples of climbing a ladder.
This example, I was doing this remember we did this too when we presented in Morocco. Risk acceptance. Remember, we were just doing the example of parachute jumping. Some people think this is safe, and statistics are safe according to the numbers. But I remember you and I was like, I'm never going to do it. I won't jump off a plane. That's just me. It doesn't matter what the numbers are, how safe the numbers look like. I'm not going to do it. I was trying to have this discussion in terms of risk acceptance, and they're different. Like, someone can accept something as tolerable, I guess, low risk, and then another person can think it's not an acceptable risk level.
So we have the definition of risk. We know it's a combination of likelihood and severity. The definition states that the two components of risk are likelihood and severity. The likelihood of occurrence is a weighted risk factor. Okay, I get that. While severity is the magnitude of harm expected to result from the hazard, right? The likelihood of occurrence of an incident is estimated based on the incident history, benchmarks, personal experiences, and I would say there's probably more in there too, right?
This is what we had in our slides, but yeah, please feel free to add more. This is just what we used before, so just kept it the same. But if you want to add more, go for it.
I'll tell you what I'm thinking. Hold on. File, open recent. So I just did electrical inspections works. Here's my 70E. I'm working on my IAEI 70E workshop. And
so
I have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So is this in August or October? Because I know it's coming up soon.
Next week.
Next week. Okay, yeah. August. Okay.
I thought I had.
So these are the same information that we presented that I'm using. Like, if you go to the parachute, whatever the sections.
Here's this. So there's a level of uncertainty, right? So you have the limitations. What I'm trying to I thought I had a really good list. That's the NIST reference.
Yeah, which is the one that you gave me. That's what I'm using it to.
So what we had here, the likelihood of occurrence of an incident is estimated based upon the incident history, the industry benchmarks, personal experiences, and other factors that include, what I'm trying to build into there is, there's an annex in 70E that speaks to the fact that yours, like, I'm going to call it state of mind.
Which annex? Is it the human performance one or which one?
Oh, human performance that include elements of human performance. I love it.
See? Sometimes I can come up with good. Like, I'll get used to it. Though.
I couldn't think of
I
that.
can say something good.
Yeah, because here's my issue is my thoughts are that you have the incident history, right? So that's your statistics. Incident history statistics, industry benchmarks, and personal experiences, as well as other factors that include elements of human performance.
You want to make it number 4 or add it to 3? Okay.
Yeah, and so like Robert says, changes the scope of work, human performance, and how about we say personal experiences, comma, for elements of human performance, and as well as other factors that include.
And I think it's kind of understandable that.
Go ahead.
Right,
I'm trying to finish.
No, I was going to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I had it, Robert. Changes to scope of work was what Robert. That's what triggered me, and other variables, and include elements of human performance as well as other factors. Oh man, I lost it. Yeah, I'll just say as well as other factors. And then we'll just leave it there. And you know what I don't like either? I don't like the fact that this is all in a sentence. If you're going to make a list, make a list. If we're going to do numbers, having numbers in a series like that just bothers the bejeebers out of me. There we go.
Oh, you don't like the numbers, and because only three items, so I thought I could just have them embedded. It saves time. I mean, not time, space. Where spaces are premium for our papers, so we always have more information to include. That's the issue.
Yeah, other human behavior and job site variable factors, something like that. So because Robert noted like the change of scope. In fact, there was during Shock Week I interviewed Wes Wheeler, and Wes's topic was the changing risk assessment, that when he's on when you're on a job site, you may have what do you call it? You may have an issue of the project changing. I've got 3 things going on in my head. I'm watching this light blinking, and I'm not sure why. But anyway, you might have changes on the job site that cause a change in your safety evaluation. So I think we covered it with the human performance. That covers a lot of broad range. And then human behavior and job site variable factors, variabilities, job site variabilities.
So Tom, I would maybe split 4 and 5, like add maybe 5. So split the human performance and job site variability, because they're not like the same item. Guess I can just have number 5, I guess. Yeah, and then it'll be I think a good list. And yeah, because other human behavior should be, I guess, part of the human performance, right? Yeah, the job site variability. I think this makes more sense.
Changes in working conditions result in
Yeah.
changes in working conditions. Job site variabilities that result in changes in working conditions. I like that. And Dan, what would we do without you? I like it. All right, so that the likelihood of occurrence is a weighted risk factor. The other thing I didn't like, definition states that two components of risk are likelihood. I like the likelihood and probability, and severity, you put impact. We probably said that in our presentation too. I guess that's okay.
Yeah, well,
yeah, the likelihood.
I'm only using the impact for the first definition just to kind of show, when we're talking about severity, what it means at the impact. But then throughout the rest of the discussion, I'm using likelihood. Like I don't use probability, likelihood and severity. But I guess I saw some people using, I did more research on other industries, I guess, and some industries don't use probability and impact. They don't even use severity and likelihood. So I guess 70 lingo, we use severity and likelihood. So I thought I would just add this in. Just, hey, if you're not familiar, if you use different lingo for different industry, it's still the same, means the same, but we can delete them if you want.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'm good with it. Editing is fun, but dry as heck. You should only do so much at a time. That's why we're limited it to 2 hours. All right. So both likelihood and severity play an important role in the decision-making process. Consider, as an example, the simple task of climbing a ladder. Except those of us suffering from acrophobia, most people will climb a ladder with no hesitation because the likelihood of falling is perceived to be very low, although a fall could be severe, resulting in a broken limb or death. Right? Interestingly, the U.S. You know what? Do you mind if I just get rid of this?
Oh no, yeah, go ahead.
The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention had reported that during the holiday season, there were more than 5,800 fall injuries per season related to holiday decorating over the years. Approximately 43% of these fall injuries were caused by falls from ladders, and nearly half of those who fell, 47%, were hospitalized. The same logic. What about if we just said caused by falls from ladders, resulting in, with 40% of those resulting in hospitalization.
Oh, works for me.
Yeah, that way it just reduces the words, that's all. The same logic applies to driving and flying, although the severity of an incident could be catastrophic, especially in the case of a plane crash. The likelihood of a fatal accident in the case of a plane is low enough to make our perceived risk relatively low. Because, and the reason I say that is driving, the statistics show there's a high rate. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so here's my thought, Tom. I lump both of driving and flying because, yes, driving statistics are higher than flying incident statistics, but they're still not high enough that people stop driving, right? We still drive.
Well, here's the thing. Here's my again, and that's a personal opinion in this regard. When it comes to it's in these cases, when you look at the statistics, in my opinion, it's like, I think you would have a hard time, even if you didn't like these statistics, you would have a hard time saying I'm not driving. Because in some cases, that means you're not working, right? So I think driving a vehicle in many cases, not in all cases, like if I worked in New York City, there's probably a lot of people who live in New York City or downtown Chicago or Los Angeles
car.
that don't have a vehicle, right? And they just either taxi, they do public transportation. But that's not because they're doing that because, oh my gosh, I'm afraid to drive. They're doing that because financially it's feasible. It's more expensive to have a car. You got to park it. You got to all that stuff. But myself, I need a vehicle. If I want to go to work, I don't think I could afford to be Ubering everywhere, or driving taxis or hire a driver, right? So, but that doesn't even matter because whether I'm driving or I'm in the car, it's the same risk. So I think it's like it's a necessary evil.
Some people can say the same thing about flying. I mean, but you and I, we go to places, we have to fly. I mean, maybe
But the
you can
flight,
avoid flying.
yeah, but flying, when you look at the statistics around airplanes, commercial scheduled air travel is one of the safest modes of transportation. In fact, aircraft, the odds of dying were too small to calculate. So I would say if you had the ability to fly, if it's all you did was fly and you lived close to an airport, heck, you wouldn't need a car and you would still travel, but your chances of your risk is much less in the case of flying than it is in the case of driving. But
Well,
yet,
I know nowadays it's becoming a thing that people commute from cities instead of living in an expensive, especially students. I read an article on a student just flies, I don't know, 3-4 times a week to go to classes because it was cheaper, I guess, to live in LA or New York City than flying back and forth every day. But that being said, I can think of Kobe Bryant because he died in a shopper crashed, so it's still a risk. But again, we can reward this whole thing. It's not a big deal. That's what I was thinking.
I'm just thinking approximately 43. So what I'm thinking is the same logic applies to driving and flying. Although the severity of an incident could be catastrophic.
So you know what? Maybe based on this discussion, and I'm okay with whatever you said, but we can maybe get rid of driving. So that to agree, the same logic applies to flying.
Yeah.
So we don't have to lump both of them, and then get rid of the whole thing, and then you don't need to mention, especially in the case of a plane crash. I guess you can get rid of the new text that you added in case of a plane because we don't need this anymore, right?
The same logic applies to flying, although the severity of a plane crash.
Yeah. I think you still need could be catastrophic, right?
Yeah. Could be catastrophic, comma.
And then get rid of all this. The likelihood, you still need the likelihood, right? Yeah.
The likelihood not of a fatal accident, the likelihood of a crash. Of a plane crash is low enough to make our perceived risk relatively low.
Maybe we could say very low instead of relatively low because it's very low, not relatively low, I guess.
We just get rid of it. Perceived risk
or low.
Low. So the likelihood of a plane crash is low enough to make our perceived risk low. Acceptable. The risk is acceptable.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we used low a couple times there. How about the risk assessment in the example of driving a car?
Let's say our perceived risk is acceptable or perceived risk acceptable? Should we say is acceptable?
No.
Perceived risk or acceptable without an is? I don't know.
The likelihood of I'm sorry.
Acceptable. Yeah, I think it's okay. Okay, yeah, sorry. I'll take it back. We don't need an is.
So Robert So Robert was saying, how about risk assessment in the example of driving a car and the phone rings in a split second? Yeah, that would be a good example. I'm not sure how I'd work it in. You can mitigate your use and safety on a ladder, but you cannot mitigate the actions of, oh yeah. So Dan, so that's the other aspect of this. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a turn markup off. So Dan points out makes a good point that in some of these cases, like in a vehicle, you may be the safest driver on the street, but it's the other person you have to think about. And when you're driving a car versus a plane, you're operating in a two-dimensional world when you drive a car, but in a plane, you're in a three-dimensional world because you've got left and right, front of you, behind you, and also above you and below you. So you have a lot more space to put between you and other planes and things of that nature, and that's why we have air traffic controllers and all this other jazz. But automobiles, your risk is dependent upon someone else. And I could say the same thing even if you're on a ladder, right? I mean, you could be on a ladder, and if you're on a ladder in a controlled environment, your risk is solely associated with you. But if I'm on a public street and I'm on a ladder and I'm exposed to people walking by and things of that nature, that changes the element of risk. Adds more complexity. All right, so let's just read through it. Approximately 43% of these fall injuries were caused by falls from ladders, with 47% of those resulting in hospitalization. The same logic apply. The same logic. What do we say? Same logic. How about we just say, in the case, I'm not sure if I could say the same logic.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say. Well, just need to make any changes. Seems like that's my first take on this.
Yeah, except those of suffering. The U.S. Center of Disease Prevention had reported that during the holiday season. So I wonder if we did this, both likelihood and severity can play a role in the decision-making process. Consider as an example, consider the following examples as a review of risk and the components of likelihood and severity. And then the first one would be climbing a ladder, colon. The simple task of climbing a ladder, except and climbing a step ladder, right? That's it's a step ladder. Except those of us suffering from most people. So that's the first one. Airplane travel. The severity of a plane crash could be catastrophic, comma, the likelihood of a plane crash is low enough to make our perceived risk acceptable.
Did you say airplane travel or air travel?
Air travel.
I was wondering, I don't know.
Skydiving, and we could put the statistics here, right? I mean, I would use skydiving because I think we have the data for skydiving.
It's already there, Tom. Sorry, if you go back to the following paragraph, I have skydiving. Let's say there's skydiving, car racing, or bungee jumping, right?
Yeah, but I don't have statistics for bungee jumping and car racing.
Yeah, we can get rid of them. But I just thought they're all, I'm lumping, I did the same thing with driving and flying. I'm kind of lumping things together, but you can get rid of the other ones if we don't have statistics for them. I'm fine with that.
skydiving, the activity of skydiving could have a high perceived risk, leading those who are risk adverse to not engage in this activity.
I guess, Tom, we just keep doing what you're doing, but there's a comment I want to respond to. So we are adding those examples because this section has NHX, ZX, boy, I was lucky, I think. Yeah, so this is just for the explaining the concept of risk and risk acceptance. Just example that, some people are okay with skydiving and others are not. So I guess once we laid out the way that Tom is doing, it might not be as confusing because I think there's the commentary is they're getting lost in the details
Of a skydiving accident is very low. For example, the U.S., and I don't have to say for example, we can just say the U.S. Parachute Association. Right, so I don't have the air travel. We can put those statistics in. Yeah, so what we're just this pop up. So he makes a good point. Let's just make sure that. So in this discussion, we begin with the fact that we have to understand risk being a component. Two components of likelihood and severity, and that there's risk in everything that we do, and there's a difference between the actual risk based upon the numbers and the statistics, and then there's a different and perceived risk, to your point, right, Nehad, that
right.
I might be able to tell you, look, skydiving is really, really safe. There's like hardly any accidents, etc. Or even up an airplane, there are people who are afraid to fly.
Yeah, I know people refuse to fly. Doesn't matter how much.
You can demonstrate the statistics, but that's not going to change their perception of risk. So, in those dynamics, from an electrical safety perspective, that influences our designs too. If I'm a risk adverse person, I may have a design that is very risk adverse. And if I'm not, then my design might reflect that feeling.
And Tom, to your point, if the following paragraph, I guess maybe we need a null and a space. It starts with, it's worth noting that risk acceptance varies considerably, and this is exactly what you were talking about. That people are different.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
I guess we had the examples, yeah. So I had the examples, and then this is what I was trying to explain that, yeah, exactly what you're saying. I know some people who refuse to fly. It doesn't matter. You can convince them that the statistics are, it's too small to even calculate, but they still won't fly.
Yeah, so when what we're doing is we first talk about the top portion. It sets it up that on how we determine likelihood and severity. And then we give 3 examples: climbing a stepladder, something as simple as that. Air travel, and then we have to put the how about the severity? The severity of a plane crash could be catastrophic, but.
I know, Tom, I really like something you said, that the statistics are too small to calculate. Maybe we should include this here, because I think it was in one of the slides. Because I didn't include that part, but I think it's worth including, yeah.
Let's see. Okay, but unformatted. It is a fact that commercial scheduled air travel is among the safest modes of transportation. The 2021 lifetime odds of dying as an aircraft passenger in the United States were too small to calculate. The likelihood of a plane crash is low enough to make it thus calculate. Hence, I get to use the word hence, comma.
Yeah, I like that one.
Thusly, statistics aside,
Tom, my favorite word is ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous.
It's just like you can hardly use. I used it for ground fault protection. I want my paper there. Ground fault protection.
Hence, the likelihood of a plane crash is low enough for some to make the perceived risk acceptable, but for others, the statistics may not be enough to, convince, or to surpass, or how about to surpass the apprehension?
Maybe overcome. Yeah, overcome their fear, but yeah.
Yeah. To overcome
their
the fear of flying.
Yeah.
I like it. The severity of a plane crash could be catastrophic, but it is a fact that commercial scheduled air travel is among the safest modes of transportation. Hence, the likelihood of a plane crash is low enough for some to make the perceived risk acceptable, but for others, the statistics may not be enough to overcome their fear of flying. Oh, I love it. Ubiquitous. Dan says is one of his favorite. I used ubiquitous
in my presentation, and I was so proud of it. Thank you, Dan.
Activity of skydiving could have a high perceived risk, leading those who are risk adverse to not engage in this activity. In reality, reported statistics may demonstrate that the likelihood of a skydiving accident is very low. The U.S. Parachute Association, the body that oversees skydiving, reported. I don't know if we need that. Do we need this?
Probably not. I thought it's just to explain it to people, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what? If we have to condense words, we can always take it out. Reported a very low fatality rate in 2023. It is.
And then I'll add a reference for the website link. So this is missing that, but yeah, right. And this is what I wanted to do. Just add if you had another line, and now this is the comment: risk acceptance.
Risk acceptance varies considerably from one individual to
Tom,
another.
what I'm going. Sorry, you give me a good idea. What I'm going to do is, and I can do. We don't have to do this live, but I will split this section into A and B, like the one on the right hand side. So it would be A risk and then B risk acceptance. So just make it more streamlined, I guess.
Say that one more time.
Okay, so remember you just added risk acceptance here. I will add a title A and B, like the one on the right hand side column. So B risk and then risk acceptance, like separate from each other. So it's more like editing, right? Formatting. I can do that just like I did with the other sections.
Where would you put it?
I will start with risk here. A will be risk.
Where?
And then right after the title, risk and risk acceptance.
Okay, so
I could just put something here and do that, right?
Hold on, let me put it in.
Yeah, just like A risk, then risk assessment acceptance could be B, and then it's better formatting, right? Yep.
Risk, and then this is risk acceptance.
So here's the problem, because you copied and pasted. Now B, A is B, which is not. It's just messing up the other section. I can work this out.
What do you mean A is B? This is A.
So okay, A and B.
This
is in the following section, risk management. Now it's C. Yeah, because of the copy and paste. I can fix this.
I just fixed it.
Yep, right.
So
perfect, thank you.
Yep, this is risk acceptance.
Yeah. Just like indentation is the first line. I know it's just pretty annoying, but just the first line.
Okay. So do these have to be bold? I would think, right?
No, they're not.
Really?
Yeah, I mean this is the IEEE template.
That's
not bold. The only bold is the section title.
That's pretty stupid. But anyway.
There you go.
All
I
right.
can, we can worry about the formatting later. I can do that.
I
So
mean,
don't have to waste
air
our
travel,
time here.
skydiving. I like that. 3 examples. I think three examples is more than enough. We have statistics in there. We have reference links for each of those. And then we talk about risk acceptance. Risk acceptance varies considerably from one individual to another. We all accept a certain level of risk as part
So, Tom,
of...
before we move on, do you have a reference for the air travel statistics in 2021? Because this is the only one that we don't have the reference for.
NSC injury facts. NSC injury facts. Let me
National
look.
Safety something.
NSC injury facts air travel. Boom, 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 boom. Source per miles. The death rate per 100 million miles. Passenger vehicles are by far the most dangerous motorized sport. Overall, motorized just by transportation mode, airplanes. Commercial scheduled airplanes is among the most safest transportation. The lifetime odds of dying on an aircraft passenger in the United States was too small to calculate. Look at that. Wow.
Perfect.
I got it from there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Awesome. This is the link. We need this link. And Tom, I would recommend adding this website to your slides as well. So in the future, we can reference this, not just in the paper.
Control V. And I'm going to come back to this and do a Control V.
Perfect.
And
now at least we know it's documented.
You know what I like to do too is I'm going to try this. Make that white. Ooh, not white. I go to this gray. So it blends and it's not like a slap you in the face.
Good.
All right. All right. So I like it. So we got the reference for that. I put it in a note. Air travel. We got the skydiving. We got risk acceptance. Acceptance. Oh, let me. So are we good? Are you good with that?
Yeah. It's just like a quick discussion. Yeah. Maybe read through quickly. I don't think there'll be any. Hopefully, no controversy.
Risk acceptance. Under the risk assessment, remember to allow for things we do not know. That we do not know. Oh, you don't know what you don't know. That's true. Risk acceptance varies considerably from one individual to another. We all accept a certain level of risk as part of our jobs and personal life. Even for the same individual, the risk acceptance level is not fixed and is dictated by many factors, including age, experience, marital status, profession, and organization. Better understand this, let's consider the journey of one individual through the years. During childhood, okay. I know you're going to hate me, but I'm going to do this. Childhood.
Oh, man. So this would add a lot of space.
Teenager.
This would be like an extra page because of all this.
Hey, it's the least I could do because I do the least that I can do. As a teen with more experience, the desire to take...
And paying extra charges. Extra page charges.
Single young professional. As a single young professional enjoying more financial freedom is no dependence. The risk level is increasing substantially. Marriage. Later, when this individual gets married and has kids, the risk acceptance level may go down because of these new commitments. On the contrary to personal decisions, risk acceptance level at work is dictated by the... and this is why I did this. So it says, let's consider the journey of one individual through years. So I understood childhood, teenager, a single young professional, and a married, I would say married, middle-aged, right?
Yeah.
Middle-aged person. But then all of a sudden, we went to a job, which is not a part of the journey of over through the years. You may have gotten this job when you were a teenager.
Sorry, Tom, I'm not sure I'm not following. So you talk about the job. I started the job as a young professional, right? So this person, I mean, some people may get married before they start their career, but I'm assuming that, you get a single young professional, so you have a job, and
Okay,
then you get
so
married.
are you saying you want to move this into the discussion around a single young professional?
Oh, no, sorry. No, this is more of this is the personal decision. The last paragraph is the work decision, because I was talking about how this could be. We have different risk acceptance levels in personal and professional lives. So the childhood, marriage, single, young professional, this was personal, and then I'm comparing this to the same person in work life in general, not tied to
Right.
any of
Okay.
these stages, right? Yeah.
So what we didn't do is elderly. How about aging
Oh,
years?
yeah. No, well, like
Right.
senior is
Senior.
senior.
Oh, I like senior years. Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to be politically correct.
Yes. As this individual ages, the level of risk acceptance significantly decreases. For many reasons that may include the fact that simple injuries take longer to heal. As you get older, your risk goes up because a fall from a ladder when you're 12 years old or 13 years old is going to result differently than if you were 90 years old. Same height, same ladder,
Sure.
same situation. And that's because your bones are brittler or more brittle, and then you break a hip or you break a leg, it's going to take longer to heal,
Take
right?
forever to recover. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm scared to learn how to ski. If I were 2 years old, there would have been no problem learning how to ski, but I can't do it now, my age.
As the individual ages, the level of risk acceptance significantly decreases for many reasons that may include the fact that simple injuries take longer to heal. And more damage can occur. On the contrary, okay, so now I can't say on the contrary to personal decisions. I think,
So I was comparing this journey in personal life to professional, right?
I like what Dan just said. Level of risk acceptance significantly decreases for many reasons. Period. Simple incidents can cause greater degrees of injury and take longer to heal. I like that. Very good. Thanks, Dan.
For some reason, can you still hear me?
I can see you. I can hear you too. But you're blurry. You're getting blurry, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, because you froze. Oh, my connection. You froze, and I can't see the screen. Nothing, like whatever you were typing, I can't see it anymore. Everything is freezing for me.
Um,
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
let me turn my other camera off. Does that improve the throughput?
The country. Yeah, I'm not.
Huh?
Are you typing anything? Because I can't
No,
see.
I'm not. Here, I'll scroll up and down.
I guess I. Okay. No, I can't see. Whatever the screen you're sharing with me froze. I can't see anything. Now it's sorry, and now it's back. And now we are scrolling up and down. This
All
was
right.
big major delay there. Okay.
Okay.
Now I see the sentence that you added. Simple instance. Yeah, the dense sentence.
Yeah, and so so here where it says on the contrary to personal decisions. So how about we say, and instead of on the contrary, and say in addition to the changes above through life, comma, risk acceptance levels may be influenced by an individual's
Line of work. Line of work. Maybe?
Line of work or employer, right?
Yeah, because we're talking about like firefighters and linemen and professional athletes.
Yeah. Some examples include firefighters, linemen, and professional athletes. Professional athletes who may be required to accept higher levels of risk than the average person. Within the same industry, every organization has a unique safety culture that will mandate the acceptable level of risk an employee can take or be exposed to. Occupation, instead of line of work, in addition to risk of being influenced by an individual's occupation.
Occupation, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
better word. Sure.
Or employer.
Sure.
Dan's like, I'm going to start texting you to get your attention.
I guess we should include Dan as a co-author. He's been contributing really well to this paper.
Oh, you gotta love it. Oh boy. All right. Jeez, oh man.
And Robert says use the word changing circumstances, but I'm not sure where. Is used changing circumstances.
Yeah, we already talked about that.
We did, okay.
Yeah.
Because I just saw the comment.
Yeah, that was above. All right. All right. So I think we talked about risk acceptance, right, and how it varies from individual to individual by age, the whole bit.
Yeah. Now we have risk management. Risk management for the next section.
Yeah. Let me hit. I'm gonna do a save. I'm just gonna save it.
As I say, please save this. We don't want to lose all this work.
Yeah, no, I was gonna try to give it a different name, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna.
No, it's okay. I have the original copy, and I'll keep it.
File save as. I'm gonna do this. 2024. Today is the 2nd of August, 0802. And getting rid of that. Boom. All right. All right, we're saved. Quick online search for risk management will return different definitions depending upon, I'm not sure if I would say, there are varying definitions of risk management.
Yeah, I guess I was just trying to say that there's not an agreed upon definition for risk management.
What did you say? Just say what you did. What did you just say?
Agreed upon something, an agreed upon definition for risk management, I guess. Universal definition for risk management.
Saying just that doesn't give me a perspective. So there are varying definitions for risk management. You said a really good sentence. There There is
Universal
no
definition or no
agreed.
agreed upon?
There
Agreed
is.
upon definition.
There is no agreed upon, or you're saying there is an agreed upon. But you're just saying agreed upon, and that has no
No, there is not.
relativity for
There
me.
is not.
Okay.
There is not agreed upon
There
definition.
is no
Or no agreed upon definition.
there is no agreed upon definition of the term risk
Or for risk management. You want to go for risk management? Just make it shorter. For risk management.
for risk management. There's no agreed upon definition. Does Webster define it?
I'm not sure. I remember I looked it up, and I found different definitions depending on the context and application.
Ah, okay. There's no agreed upon universally applicable definition.
So what
All right.
about universally agreed upon definition? Just move universally to the beginning. There's no universally agreed upon definition.
Um, How about there's no agreed upon definition for risk management that would apply to all different. As you get older, happy hour starts later and later, except now. I call it bedtime. Dan's leaving us. Jeez, oh man.
Oh man.
There's,
what time is it for you? It's almost midnight here.
There is no agreed upon definition for risk management that would apply to all different situations, right?
I would say different field of applications because I was talking about business, quality control, environmental, legal. So maybe field of, yeah. And then you have like I include examples, whether it's business, whether it be business quality control, environmental.
No agreed. I can read that. There is no agreed upon definition for risk management that would apply to all different fields of application. Fields of application.
I guess you need to get rid of the following sentence. Yeah.
The business, quality control, environment, legal, security, strategy, or safety. Right? Generally speaking, risk management is the process of identifying, evaluating, and ranking risks. Nehad, co-author. I want a full-page bio at the back of the book. And he says he's not leaving. Dan wouldn't leave this. All right. There's generally speaking.
Dan, I thought you were going to bed. Dan is back.
He's back. Generally speaking, risk management is the process of identifying, evaluating, and ranking risks to strategically minimize, monitor, and control the likelihood of occurrence or severity of exposure while maximizing favorable outcomes. Wow, that's beautiful. The risk management process, as defined in ISO 31000.
This would be a reference as well.
Yeah, is that. So it's establishing the context. Then you have your risk assessment, hazard identification, risk analysis, risk evaluation. Then you implement risk controls and you monitor and review and you keep doing it.
And by the way, I got this flowchart from 70E, one of the risk management annex, and it's at Z462 as well. But this is the original reference. So I thought instead of referencing 7E and Z462, I would just add this IEC reference because it's the original reference where they got it from.
I get it. All right. risk assess. So that's just the overview of.
Like introduction, yeah.
That's the
Risk
introduction
management.
for risk management. Now we're going to do assessment. So let me ask. So risk assessment is this outer box.
Right.
All right. Let me just look. I'm just looking at overview. So that's A. B is risk assessment matrix. We have the outer box.
There's a list that you missed, Tom, that talks about hazard identification and risk analysis. If you scroll down the following page, I have 3 list items.
Okay, so we included everything that's in here in A.
In the box. Yep.
Perfect.
On
All
the
right.
risk assessment.
The process used to identify all potential hazards and the required protective actions is called risk assessment. The formal definition. Hey, Tom, you might want to work in OSHA's hierarchy triangle. We do, right, Nehad?
Yeah, it's the hierarchy risk
Right
control.
there.
It's the following section.
Yeah, we got it there, Dan. That's
It's
the
coming.
high.
Yeah, wait. Yep.
We're in
Hierarchy risk control.
Yeah. All right. The process used to identify all potential hazards. I'm going to close this. The process used to identify all potential hazards and the required protective actions is called risk assessment. The formal definition of risk assessment found in CSA Z462 and 70E is an overall process that identifies hazards, estimates the likelihood of occurrence of injury or damage to health, estimates the potential severity of injury or damage to health, and determines if protective measures are required. So that's right out of 70E. Risk assessment.
That's why it's italic.
Risk assessment is an essential part of risk management that entails the following steps: hazards identification, risk level estimation, risk evaluation to determine the required risk controls. Hazard-based or task can be used is most commonly, depending on how the risk assessment is performed, hazard-based or task-based risk assessment can be used. Period, right? Where
I think it's a continuation of the same sentence, but yeah, you can split them into 2 if you want.
Yeah, I'll just say task-based risk assessments are most commonly used when performing a field level risk assessment. So
is it task-based risk assessment or assessments? I think it's should be singular, right?
If it's singular, then I have to say a task-based. Task-based risk assessment is most commonly used when performing a field level risk assessment.
This refers to the previous sentence, and we're defining 2 different methods of risk assessment.
Right.
I don't know if you need a task-based.
But what we're saying is the first sentence says, depending on how the risk assessment is performed, hazard-based or task-based risk assessments, a hazard-based or task-based risk assessment can be used, period. A task-based risk assessment is most commonly used, is most common when performing a field level risk assessment. So what we're saying is there's 2 risk assessments that can be used, hazard-based or task-based, and we're saying that the task-based risk assessment is most common. Reference 70E. So what parts of 70E?
I think it was in the Annex F too, because this is all Annex F, but I have to double check.
Annex.
I remember, probably
70E
Annex.
And
Annex F.
Is it F in both of them?
Oh yeah, because it's just like the previous section. I think this is where I got this. I have to check, but I think this is where I got it from. The definition of hazard-based and task-based.
Annex.
I have to double check.
F of NFPA 70E and Z462. I guess all we do is put the 70. I'm gonna put the brackets.
Yeah, and I will just I will figure this out in between brackets. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this will be the same numbers as before. Yeah.
Okay. When performing a risk assessment, either a hazard-based or task-based assessment can be used. Ooh. I like what he said. When performing a risk assessment, hold on, let me read this again. The process used to identify all potential hazards and the required protective actions is called risk assessment. The formal definition of risk assessment found an overall process, blah, 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 blah. Risk assessment is an essential part of this. Boom. I like when performing a risk assessment, comma, either a hazard-based or task-based assessment can be used. A task-based, I like that. I like that language, Dan. A task-based risk assessment is most common when performing a field-level risk assessment. When performing a risk assessment, either a hazard-based or task-based assessment can be used. A task-based risk assessment is most common when performing a field-level risk assessment. I like that. And then we have hazard-based. Workplace hazards and the activities that might be affected by those hazards are identified. The likelihood and severity of risks associated with each activity are evaluated. Task-based. Each job is broken down into specific tasks to identify the hazards associated with each task. This is often referred to as task hazard pairs. Is that right? I guess, yeah. Task hazard pairs, yeah. The risk associated with each hazard is evaluated for its likelihood and severity. I'm just going to say likelihood and severity, period. Just brighten up. All right, what do you think? I like that. That was very good. It does flow better, Dan. It does flow better. Thank you. Most common or more common? Most common. A task-based risk assessment is more common. Ooh, yeah, more common.
Because initially it was most commonly used, so I guess more common makes more sense. Or maybe more commonly used instead of more common. Can we just say commonly used?
Yeah, because more, is commonly used when performing a field level risk assessment. I like it. This is how sausage is made, Nehad.
Yeah. I'm not a good cook.
I like it.
Either.
And we just and we just added some more cooks to the soup, to the kitchen.
Yeah, I think Dan is joining this paper. I mean, he may have to come to ESW to co-present with us. I don't know.
In the context of workplace electrical safety, the two risk assessments conducted are electrical shock and arc flash risk assessment. You know what? That's a good point. And here's my issue. That's a good point.
And because of obviously we have limited space for this paper, I'm referring the reader to 70E and Z462 where they have the risk assessment for shock and arc flash. I guess, yeah, hopefully in our future book, we can elaborate more on this. That's why I cut it short because this will be another 2 pages or something if you get deeper into this.
Yeah, so what's going through my mind is 70E looks at, so here's 70E identifies 4 hazards: arc flash, shock, arc blast, and thermal burns. The only risk assessments that they perform is arc flash and shock.
I know. That's why, we had this debate the last time. They talk about thermal burns, and I guess refer to thermal burns are arc blasts, but they're not really identified as hazards because, like you just said, risk assessment is done for shock and arc flash, period. So they're just like, I guess they're referred to in 70E, but they're not really addressed.
And that's here's my problem. There should be an arc blast risk assessment and a thermal burn risk assessment. There should be two more sections in Article 130.
Well, Tom, this sounds like a great public input. Let's work on one.
You know what? That's first draft meeting was this week too, but that doesn't mean. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and here's what I'm gonna do. Oh man, I am gonna put in another note, public input / comment for NFPA 70E. I'm going to call this a new section. We'll go at 130.130. Is it 130? 130.new arc blast risk assessment, and then 130.new thermal burn risk assessment. I really think that would. Are there calculations for arc blast? So Robert, there's no calculation for
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, but here's my issue. Even if you had a section that said this is a risk assessment for an arc blast, even if you said that you don't have a calculation, or I don't know how you do it. I'd have to really think about it. But there should be a section that's for each of the hazards. And even if you said in there that there is no way to calculate that precautions, whatever, the risk assessment, we'll put it this way. If you have a 120 volt application, your risk assessment for an arc blast, quote unquote, is that there is no arc blast. So you might just say yes or no. When is there a likelihood of an arc blast? And then we should have a definition of it. But we should have something in there that might promote some more research around it. I mean, arc blast, the HEAF, which we have in our paper, there's, oh man, I'm getting pumped. All right, so all right, I'm just going to put that in there, and that's a whole nother debate. But 130.4, you know what I like is I like to put the 130.4, comma, electric shock risk assessment, and 130.5. arc flash risk assessment, or Z for the cloud 434 and 435 respectively. Finally, it is worth noting that there are different techniques for performing risk assessments. So there are for thermal only. So thermal burns, to Robert's point, from a risk assessment, you can do a risk assessment for thermal burns, and it may be, to Robert's point, the temperatures. You might be able to sit down and say you can calculate on a say I don't know, 24-volt DC circuit, control circuit. If that current goes through the metal, you could come up with ways to say, look, is there a thermal burn possible? You can be working on a heater element where you have an electric heater. If you're taking a heater in and out of an air conditioning unit or an HVAC unit, and say it's a resistive element, you have to give it time to cool. So you would have to identify any sources of heat due to electricity passing through it. I like this, Nehad.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, looks
Power
like I'm
of brainstorming.
Chris. Well, now we can. You know what? Chris Folan just came in, so we're gonna have to start all over again. Let's go back to the beginning.
I just have to delete everything. Oh man.
I'm gonna undo everything. Control Z, Control Z. All right, so I got the two in there. The choice of the risk assessment method is based on the application, desired outcome, and skillfulness of the individuals performing the risk assessment. In the following section, the risk assessment matrix will be discussed. So let me ask you, there's nothing in 70E that tells you whether you need to perform a hazard-based or task-based risk assessment?
It just said that task-based is the one to use. And, honestly, before reading the section, I've always thought of the task-based because I know that everyone is just doing task-based hazard assessment. I wasn't even aware of the hazard-based one, but I guess it was just mentioned as a different method. But as far as I know, everybody's using the task-based. You just break it down to tasks, whatever the job is, and then just do the assessment based on the task, not based on the hazard. It's not like arc flash hazard, shock hazard. It's more of these are my tasks, and then you do the assessment per task. And this is, I guess, what they refer to as task hazard pairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm good with that. Then you go to the risk assessment matrix. One of the tools that can be used for estimating the risk level is the risk assessment matrix, also known as risk rating or risk control. A risk assessment matrix generates a risk score based on the likelihood and severity of the hazard under consideration. A risk matrix is a grid structure with different likelihood levels displayed on the vertical axis and several levels on the horizontal axis. So that's this, right? So we have likelihood on the left. I know we talked about this at nauseum. Likelihood of occurrence is a weighted risk factor based on the analysis of the probability that a given threat is capable of exploiting a given vulnerability or set of vulnerabilities. Accordingly, the likelihood level is determined based on 1, history of incidents, 2, industry benchmarks, and 3, personal experience. On the contrary, quantifying an incident severity is not straightforward. Because severity is highly subjective and varies drastically for the same incident. For example, an injury resulting from falling off a ladder could vary from a few bruises, broken bones, spinal cord injury, or a head injury, and be influenced by the age of the employee, right?
Yep.
Age and condition of health of the employee. As a result, assigning the severity level is a judgment call at best, depending on the assessor's knowledge, age and health. Age and health. Age and health of the employee. Qualified is skills and knowledge, yes. Okay. As a result, assigning the severity level is a judgment call at best, depending on the assessor's knowledge and the hazard under consideration. Is it the hazard under consideration, or is it the task. The task and associated hazards under consideration. Does that make sense? Okay. The risk level score. I like risk level. So let's talk about whether or not, or do we just leave it that way? Risk level / score.
Yeah, so I guess I was wondering what your preference is. I can leave it level / score or just level or yeah, whichever. So yeah, it's just a note.
Yeah, I'll say the risk level / score is obtained by multiplying the likelihood and severity levels. For example, if the likelihood level is 3 and the severity level is 2, then the risk score is 6. Now we went with 5 by 5, right?
Yeah, but I sort to mention there are different versions because 7E, the annex only has 2 by 2. And then when I did my online research, I found that I guess depending on the granularity and the industry, 4 by 4, 3 by 3. I think I came across 7 by 7 somewhere, but I guess 5 by 5, 4 by 4 are more popular.
Yeah,
and it's very limited.
I remember you and I talked at length about that. So I like, I like the 5 by 5. But what you're trying to say is, there are many examples of risk assessment matrices, and
I'm just saying that the smaller size is less detail.
They vary from anywhere from 5.5 by 5 to 2 by 2. A smaller matrix size yields less granularity, thus the risk matrix size used will depend on the level of detail. Yeah. Oh, man. An example of a color-coded 5 by 5 risk assessment matrix is shown in Table 2. This matrix is comprised of 5 columns and 5 rows, creating 25 individual cells. The quantitative risk score in each cell is the product of likelihood and severity levels, while the qualitative values are determined based on valid risk scores shown in Table 3. There's your minimum, low, medium, high, extreme. All right, and all we did there, and I remember us talking about these were low. Yeah. And then, okay, so I'm good with that. I like the way you did that. Thus, reassignment of these scores is possible. For example, a risk score of 3 could be considered low risk. A risk score of 6 could be... And this table, is it fair to say, would you agree if we said these tables can be customized per the say project or
yeah, I totally agree, and this is what I was trying to say. Maybe I didn't explain it properly, but this is what I meant by reassigning the values, right, or the scores. Because
yeah,
I found some people giving 3. Like in our case, we're saying 3 is a minimal risk, but some other sources online would consider 1 and 2 are minimal. 3 is low, or like like the lowest level of risk is 1 and 2. They're not including 3. But the way I did it, I tried to make it even. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and like 3 steps, except with the 20 and 25 because we don't have enough states. But some other sources I found online that they're not, I guess the steps are not even. They would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 8, 9, 10, So that's what I was trying to explain, that I guess it's up to you. If you want to make 3 low risk versus minimal risk, nothing stopping you from this. That's why you change the green square or rectangle that has the 3 to yellow.
Oh, okay. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, like what Robert said, these tables can be customized per company or even tasks.
So I think this sentence should be moved up, right, Tom? And then we say, thus reassignment of these scores is possible. and then give the example of 3 and 6. And I like this. And thank you, Robert. I guess, yeah, move it at the beginning, right?
Thus, reassignment of these scores is possible. For example, a risk score of 3 could be considered low risk. A risk score of 6 could be considered medium risk. And a risk score, okay, wait, 3. Thus, the reassignment of these scores, for example, a risk score of 3, which is minimal in table 3, could be considered, could be not considered, but reassigned as low risk. A risk score of 6, which is identified as low risk, could be reassigned as medium risk. And a risk score of 10 currently medium risk could be reassigned as high risk. So yeah, and in addition, well, we already set up above that you could vary the number of columns and rows.
Right. There's a different sizes, and then instead of having 5 steps, you have 4. So instead of minimal, low, high, whatever, you have to come up with different terminology, I guess.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So you have your likelihood and severity. So if you identify, like, for example, I could sit down and say, getting on a plane, right? Getting on a plane, likelihood is a 1. Very improbable that I'm going to crash. Severity is a 5. Catastrophic.
Right.
Okay, so since since I'm in row 1 and I went catastrophic extreme, would I take 1 times 25 and get a risk of 25? Or would I would be at a 5 because it's 1 times 5 and I got 5. So it's low risk. Right?
Right.
Yes, I got it. Right. So I would do a 1 times 5 and it would be a low risk of 5 for plane travel. Car
and
travel.
Then someone else can reassign these numbers based on their, again, perceived risk, which what we discussed in the acceptance section, right?
Yes.
Because if someone is scared of flying, obviously it's not going to be minimal risk. They would probably have different assignments.
Well, but here's the thing. I think risk is risk. You may perceive it. You could say, like, if I sat down in flying, likelihood is still improbable. I can't say, well, because I'm afraid to fly, it's frequent. I would base the likelihood on statistics. If you've never had, I don't know, if now it could be. Here's the difference. I think, Nehad. Let's say, for example, let's talk about step ladders. Industry statistics. I might sit down and say, okay, industry statistics is 1 fall in so many million of people or whatever. But I might say, based upon my company, I might know that my workers, for some reason, I don't know if it's my hiring or if it's the people in my workforce, that I am 5 times as likely to have fall issues. Right? I might even say myself. I might say myself. I am frequently falling off of ladders. So my frequency for me or my company might be high, where the industry average is very low. but it's not my perceived, it's not my, I'm just afraid to get on a ladder, so I'm going to say likelihood is high. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. But I guess what I was trying to say is, let's take an example of a lineman, for example. Obviously, they would put the risk of getting up that high, maybe in a bucket or something, working with high voltage, somehow acceptable, maybe low risk based on their assessment. But you and I will probably have this as very extreme risk, because of the calculation. This is what I meant, but I guess numbers wise, I don't know. It's again, it's very subjective, right? Kind of what I meant with my comment that a
Yeah.
firefighter, for example, they would walk into a fire. You and I would probably not do this. I don't think. So their perceived risk and I guess likelihood, maybe not the severity, but the likelihood probably be a lower number than you and I, because this is what they do for a living, which goes back to our previous discussion of occupation and how
And
your
training
occupation for
and training,
yeah,
right?
training, right, experience, like athletes,
Yeah.
they do stuff that you can't do, right? That's not risky for them. I mean, likelihood is not as like football players or hockey players, but
Um, um,
Olympians now since the
um,
Olympics is on.
I'm buying what you're selling. I get it.
Thank you.
All right, I
Thank
get that.
you.
Okay, all right. So, how about the degree of risk based upon task or circumstances? Yeah. All right, all right. So, okay, I'm good. I'm good.
Right.
I'm good. So
I guess table 3. Are you okay with the table? Because I just wanted to explain,
Yeah.
because this is something I struggle with. There's some states that don't exist because of the math, right? Like you can't have 17 or 21.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
No, I'm good. I'm good. And I think you know what, should we here, what if we did this? What if before we get the hierarchy of risk, what if right in here, whoop.
Yeah, because I have to go between them. Right?
What if we did an example? An example of using tables. Is it 2 and 3? Yeah, tables 2 and 3 for air trap. The following. What if we just did that? So I don't know how to start the sentence, but I don't know. The following is a practical application of tables 2 and 3 for the activity of air travel. From statistics, the first step is to determine the what would you call it, the ranking of likelihood, the
likelihood level, I guess we could increase level.
the levels. Yeah, the hazard. What do we call it? Risk level. No.
Yeah, risk level or score.
The likelihood level, right? The likelihood level / score for a plane crash based on statistics stated previously. A likelihood rating of 1 value, likelihood value of 1 being improbable that a plane will crash while I'm on it during my trip could be justified. The severity of a plane crash is catastrophic. comma, a rating of 5. The risk, what do we call it? The risk, the overall risk level and score, overall risk level / score for air travel from point A to point B would be low, would be a rating of
5?
5,
5, yeah, which is low. Not minimal, but it's...
which is low. I like it. The odds of dying in a plane crash are between 1 in 11 million and 1 in 13.4 million. With that said, the 1 by 5 math doesn't add up, in my opinion. Ooh, what would you call it, Chris Folland? Remote?
Well, we called it minimal because we have 5 levels. I mean, we have to give them a name, right?
Yeah. Well, we're
But
going.
I guess, yeah. The problem is, yeah, we can't. The severity is 5. To do the math, and again, this just it's not very accurate method, but it's.
And it's all relative. It's all relative,
yeah,
too.
And it's not going to work perfectly for everything, but especially for, I think it's good for. It's not very good for extreme cases, like if you go on the very the both ends of the spectrum. But if you're in the average risk, like electric safety stuff, I think this would be a very good tool to use. But when you talk about plane crashes and things that are jumping off a parachute, skydiving kind of stuff, maybe the numbers are not
Well, I don't
reflecting
know.
the
I mean,
statistics.
honestly, I would say I think air travel is very low. Is low.
Yeah. So and to Chris's point, it should have been minimal, and I kind of agree with this based on statistics. But our math is giving us low, right? Which is should have been minimal, which I agree with him. But I mean, the only thing that would give you minimal is to use a 3, which is we know that severity can be 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Significant. So this just the math.
Yeah. I see what he's saying.
Because it's catastrophic. Catastrophic. Yeah. I mean, unless you have a maybe 0, which we can use likelihood of 0. Something less than 1. Improbable.
Right. Yeah, you could take that number down lower.
Yeah, and I guess I agree with Robert. You're trying to show a concept of risk calculation, not exact numbers. And yeah, I guess numbers are not. I guess in this case, it's just the concept, and like Robert said, maybe the process itself, the exercise of going through this versus getting a number, because they're all subjective.
You know what? That's a very good point. That I'm just going to write it down while I'm thinking of it. The process of leveraging these tables and exploring the likelihood and severity is in itself a healthy approach to understanding
matters, right?
Risk.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not the number that you hang your hat on. Right. It's the process and the journey to understanding the elements that impact likelihood and severity.
Yeah. Tom, I really like what you wrote, but I guess the one maybe suggestion, take it or leave it, instead of referring to tables, maybe we can say risk matrix, because this whole section talks about the risk matrix. So instead of saying table 1 and tables 2 and 3 and these tables, maybe we should just say the risk matrix method or whatever. I think you call it method or approach. I don't know. It's method.
I changed that. Now again, we can.
Yeah.
This is that's literally a first draft discussion, so that paragraph can change
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there'll be another round of proofreading, that's for
Yeah.
sure. But I mean, we're we're progressing, I think, very well.
Yeah. All right. So the following is a practical application of the above risk matrix for the activity of air travel. The first step is to determine the likelihood level / score for a plane crash based on statistics. One probable. The severity of a plane crash is catastrophic, a rating 5. The overall risk level score is air travel. The process of leveraging the risk matrix and exploring the likelihood and severity is in itself a healthy approach to understanding risk. It's not the number that you hang your hat. It's not the number that you arrive at. It's the process and the journey to understand the elements that impact likelihood and severity. Bam.
So for the last paragraph, do you want to combine it with the previous one or leave it like standing like a standalone paragraph? And I don't know, do you like leave it the way it is, or maybe stay something along those lines it's worth mentioning, or it's important to note, or something to emphasize the process of leveraging thing? Just
Yeah.
thinking out loud.
I don't know. I just think sometimes those words are extraneous. You know.
That's fair. I tend to use them,
but you know what? We'll leave it like that, and when we come back again, we could possibly modify it. And what time is it? It is 5:24. So we started what at 3, 4, 5. So two.
Yeah, we started late.
2.5 hours. Yeah, we started a little bit late. Yeah. So let's do. Let's just get through hierarchy of risk.
Yeah. Because Tom, the one thing is, I mean, I'm okay to stay later. I mean, it's 12:30. It's almost half hour after midnight for me, but it's okay. I'm gonna stay up late anyways. My concern is, and I guess we may have to maybe meet more frequently, Tom, because as you know, when September hits, I'm worried about the task group, the second draft meeting with NEC. We don't have enough time to get things done.
So
and September is a really bad month for me.
Let's do next week. I'll look at my calendar, and we'll schedule a few more sessions like this. In fact, let's do that. Let's just stop now because I'm starting to get burnt out.
Okay, no, if you're tired, you're tired.
Yeah, and I can imagine you've got to be even worse. So.
No, I'm okay. I mean, I get up late anyways. I'm still living in the North American time zone. Like I get up at 11 in the morning every day, so I'm gonna have to get up early here. I'm still working on our time zone in Canada or US. But yeah, just because the thing is and thing is too, my concern is September. So I think our first draft is due sometime in October. September, you and I'm going to Tunisia after Egypt, first week of September, and then we have PCIC together, and then Colombia, ESW, right? So the whole month of September, we're traveling, you and I, and we have the NEC. I don't know how we're going to do this. I'm very worried about this. Second draft meetings for task group work.
Yeah.
So I think we need to hopefully get this as much as we can get done in August, because September is just gone for both of us.
Yeah, no, I agree.
September is a write-off. And I hate to come back and say, hey, give us, because I know some people just submit their first draft in November, December, but I know you and I like to kind of.
Yeah, we'll get it done.
Put it in on time.
I'll take a look at the calendar and see what times work next week, and we'll just we should be able to get a few. Next week I am here next week, but the following week I am not here. So
let's do something next week, maybe once or twice if possible.
Yeah, we should do maybe Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, maybe 3 days. Thursday, I'm doing my 70E class for the West Virginia chapter, and then I'll be back.
So Tuesday, because I have to go, I have a doctor's appointment with my mom, which has to be early in the morning for you.
Okay.
Because or late, or really late here. But I guess maybe in the morning would kind of work better for me, because it will be my afternoon. She has like a doctor's appointment in the evening. I have to go with her, so.
Send me your times. Send me your times. All right, so let's do this.
So you want to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? That's kind of the plan for now.
Send me your availability on those 3 days. I'll take a look at mine, and we'll come up
Okay.
with some times.
So, I can tell you right now. So Monday, we can do the same time that we did today, 3 p.m. if you would like. Let me check my calendar, but I know let's just do it now. So those things get lost in emails and messages. So Monday, yes, Monday I can do the same time. Be 10 p.m. my time, 3 p.m. your time, if that works for you on Monday.
Nope. I'm not good.
Doesn't?
No, it doesn't. I'm not good
Oh,
until 4. I've got meetings. Monday's a bad day. I'm good in the morning up until 9. Up until 9.
morning.
Otherwise, it's 4:30.
Well, I don't want to keep you late from dinner, but for me, it's fine. I can do midnight here. Yeah, works for me.
Why don't we at least let's do an hour, 4:30 to 5:30 on Monday.
Okay, that works for me.
All right, I'll do
Better
a
than nothing.
meeting invite, 4:30 to 5:30. We'll do 1 hour on Monday, and then Tuesday.
Or would you like to maybe do 8 in the morning? Would 8 in the morning work for you on Monday? To get maybe 2 hours? I can do the morning.
I could do 8 to 9. 8 to
Yeah.
9. I have a 9 o'clock meeting, so we can do an hour in the morning.
So you want to do an hour in the morning, hour in the evening, or just one?
All right, we can do that.
One?
We'll do that. I'll set up
Okay,
2.
cool.
And then Tuesday, you said
so
what
this
time
is
is good on
Monday.
Tuesday?
Tuesday morning for me, or late evening, like
What morning? What time in the morning?
I can do, I guess 7 your time, 8, whichever, whenever you get up early, because it will be 3 p.m. my time.
So I can do 8.
I guess
8. I
8 is 3.
can do 8 to 10.
3.
8 to 8. I can do 2 hours in the morning. 8 to 10. Or you want to
Yeah,
just?
we could do that. Might be a bit tight, but yeah, I think I can do that. Maybe 8 to 5:30, but yeah, I'll see.
Tuesday.
Let's just do 8 to 10 your time on Tuesday, and then I'll figure out if I have to leave early. I guess I'll let you know.
Yep. Right.
Wednesday, I'm open in the morning as well, and in the evening. So whichever works for you. I can do 8 to 10 or 8 to whichever, and then 3 p.m. as well, if you would like on Wednesday.
Wednesday's tough.
We don't have to do Wednesday if it's busy, because I think you said Thursday and Friday. I'm pretty open Thursday, Friday, but you said you're busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do Monday and Tuesday. I'll set up 2
Good.
for Monday and 1 for, and we said 1 for Tuesday.
Yeah. And Tuesday, if you want to do 2 hours or even start at 7:30 or whenever you wake up, it'll be like 2 p.m. my time. So even if you want to start early, but I guess
Perfect.
no one will be here to watch. So,
Yeah, well,
perfect.
it'll be recorded, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but I really appreciated everyone's feedback and input. They were really great. You guys are helping us a lot, making this paper, improving the quality of this work. Very much appreciated myself.
Yeah,
And I'm sure Tom does.
Chris Folan, Dan, Robert from Omaha. Man, great
Our friend
input.
from Japan.
Yeah,
Our friend from Japan, Kawasaki, I think.
he's not from Japan though.
Yep.
Thank you, Dan. You stay well too. I really appreciate all the help, and we made it happen. It worked out good.
No.
All right, Nehad, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. I guess so. You will send I guess we're good for now, right? So you'll be sending the meeting invites for Monday
Yep.
and Tuesday, right?
Absolutely. I'll send you the work from today.
Perfect. Yeah, so I can hopefully get some work done on the weekend and then send you the updated version to continue our work.
Dan says, what is his ROI, his return on investment? You will sleep very good tonight knowing, Dan, you will sleep the best that you've ever slept, knowing that you contributed to a document that will help increase electrical safety.
Yeah, and Tom, this kind of makes me think. If you scroll down all the way, which reminds me, I need your new updated bio.
I'll send it to you.
Still don't have your, yeah. So, but we have an acknowledgement section, so maybe we can just honestly acknowledge those individuals like Dan and Robert for helping us. because I mean, you know,
Says the guy who sells used vehicles. Yes, I got rid of my pickup truck. Yeah, we can do. We can put you. We can give you your reference, Dan. We can give you a name
yeah,
in lights.
we can
Awesome.
give you a full page of bio, Dan, but we can
Yeah,
maybe acknowledge you in the paper.
absolutely. We'll have to put this YouTube channel on, and we can put the links to these sessions. There we go. I like it.
No, maybe Dan would join in one of your live sessions one day.
You never know.
You know, yeah.
Alrighty,
Okay.
we got. I think we did pretty good, but I agree with you. We're gonna need to get step up our game.
Yep. That'd be interesting. Sure. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate
All
it.
right, sure thing. Thank you, Nehad. Thanks everybody
Yeah.
out
Thank
there.
you. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening, I guess, for everyone, and hopefully see you on Monday.
Yes, sir. Catch you later.
Thanks, Tom. Take care.
Sure thing. How do I?